want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news? Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's new.
Hi, Matthew. It's Judge Janine, and I wanted to congratulate you on the Don't Unfriend Me show at the Dumb Show. I was thinking about that whole thing the other day when I thought it was right after Donald Trump was elected that everybody on the left started unfriending anyone on the right. So I'm glad you're calling them out. You've got a great name for the show. And I hope that you're true to the values, conservative values, Republican values, and that you call those people out. I think it's great. And I know you've got 135,000 followers. I hope you get a lot more. And just keep the faith. Keep fighting. I think we may get America back. But in the meantime, we've got a steep hill to climb. And you're one of the fighters, one of the patriots. So thank you.
What is going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Welcome to the show. My name is Matthew Spear. I am the host of Don't Unfriend Me on a special Thursday night, usually a night that I'm off. And tonight I wanted to come on. The reason why is because there is a program that I use called Restream.io, and they have been getting more and more expensive. Now, I will not be streaming to the website tonight. I'm probably going to be taking it off unless Ecamm comes up with a great alternative where I can stream the show directly to the website, because for the price, it just makes sense. And Ecamm has just went to the next level. We are simultaneously broadcasting on all channels through Ecamm now. Not usually you can only do one, and you would need a third-party app to do that. What's great is the chat, except for Rumble. They haven't added Rumble yet, but I'm assured Ecamm is working on getting Rumble added. You will not necessarily see everybody, but I will. So I'm going to be able to see YouTube and Twitch and everywhere else. In fact, I can actually see right now who's on Twitter, how many we've got on Twitch, how many are on Facebook, how many are on YouTube. So kind of a cool feature. So if you text wherever you're at or in the chat in Twitter, I'll be able to see it, which is great. So now you can become a part of the conversation. It wasn't always that consistent beforehand, and it's getting better. It's interesting. We're a little light. I think most people think that I'm not on tonight, so it's going to be a little bit slow until everybody comes on. If you could do me a favor and help get the word out, make sure everyone knows that we're on. So any part of the Dumb Nation, especially in the group, let them know. Karen says, Texas. What about it? I don't know. Great intro. Ann says, Rhonda says, hey y'all, hello dummies. Evening, Matt. What's up, Lee? Ingrid Scott says, what a glorious meltdown. Yeah, it was pretty good. We're going to cover it. Isaac, Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa, it's good to see you. Santa, if you want to get back into the dumb group, let me know. I'll fix it. It's just, we were getting too many strikes. Love you, buddy. Lolly, hello. Good evening, Rhonda. Carrie Ann, it's been a while. Good to see you. It's been a while. Diane, hello. Michelle. Rhonda. Santana, hello. And Melanie. All right, we're starting to get some people on. Okay, so kind of a crazy, by the way, share, like, subscribe, hit the spam button, do all that as many times as you can. I can see them now, how many people have liked the show. So please continue to do that. If you're on here and you haven't hit like, that helps get the word out. The more you like it, the more people see it, and the more people we get on and the more interactive it is. Let me put up the phone number if you want to come on. Also, you can come on live. I will need to have Amy do that for us, or Lee, or one of the other mods, to paste in the number So let me just do this for you. If you want to come on the show with video, I don't know why that just happened. Let's do that. If you want to come on with video, it's just right there. It says the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Call my show. Also, if you want to dial in on the phone number, sorry, I'm trying to figure out where everything is again with this new system. I love it, though. There's the phone number, and it's giant. That's what she said. Go ahead and dial in there if you want to call in. I will turn on the Skype line and the bat phone, and we can get into a conversation tonight. So whether you want to come on video or you just want to come on by phone, we've got both here. We spare no expense on the Don't Unfriend Me show. All right, let's get into it. We've got enough people on. Everyone's starting to wake up and come on. We've got like 62, and everybody's coming on. All right. So I don't know if a lot of people had a chance to see this. I received 3 texts, one last night late, and no, I won't tell you where they came from. And then I received one this morning and then one right before the show. And I can now talk about this. And everyone needs to kind of relax. So the thing that everyone should try to understand is that war games take place every single day of the week. Bear foxtrots, MiGs flying really close to American territory or American soil, or different parallels or no-fly zones. This happens all the time. We do it to them. They do it to us. Our subs go through their SONUS nets. Their subs go through our SONUS nets. They send boomers in a Kula class. We send the Seawolf, and we send our, we get it. This is what happens. It is the endless game that is played with our adversaries. Well, China has entered the fray, and China's been in it for quite a while. And with the growth of their military, and they do have a bigger navy than us, they have more people, they have more planes, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Russia did at one point too. It's all about the technology and the advancements. Well, this should tell you something, as we can use a spy plane that can fly at the altitude. China is using a balloon. Now, we flirted with this technology in the 70s and 80s, and using balloons, weather balloons, and really the overall imagery for what it would cost to put on a, I'm trying to be very careful here with my verbiage, to put on a lens or a camera system that would give you the quality that you're looking for, something that would stay in the geosynchronous window of the Earth rotating, but the balloon relatively not moving at that speed. And also, how do you navigate the balloon to readjust or retask the balloon to do what you obviously need on a cloudy day, maybe have it hold in pattern, things like that, doing geosynchronous orbits. Those things can't take place with a balloon, which you can get from a satellite. And once again, I'm treading very carefully here. So we flirted with the technology. Now, a lot of the balloons we set up in the 70s and 80s weren't really spy balloons, even though we did do testing on them as such. They really were to check out the ionosphere, the troposphere, ozone, also for space flight, everything else, and do testing and get samples brought back. And then these balloons would ultimately pop, and then when the accelerometer would speed up to a certain speed, it would pop a reserve chute, and we would go ahead and retrieve the basket or the cache of whatever was there doing its collection and sampling. That's the way these systems were used. Now, they're a little bit different. They've got different technology. And I'm not going to go into any of it because that would be stupid. I'm just going to tell you that some of those original concerns from the 1970s, 80s, and that testing are no longer a concern. And the United States around 2021 started diving back into balloon technology because, one, they're cheap. Two, the technology to get the actual results that they're looking for by some of those obstacles in the 70s and 80s were no longer a concern. Now, I'm not going to go into specifics. I will just tell you, you can look at the technology we have with drones and small man-portable craft and figure out that it wouldn't necessarily be difficult to adjust something with very little resistance in the troposphere or the ionosphere or above at a certain altitude that would allow this balloon to essentially navigate properly to where they wanted it to be. It was no longer guesswork or putting in the jet stream and crossing your fingers. Now, it's a lot more accurate. It's like literally talking to a child without cussing. It's really hard, to be frank with you. So why are we talking about balloons? Why are we frickin' talking about this? Well, it's pretty simple. Is late last night, some information came down that something was going on in the state of Montana. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, it's one of two things. It's a bear foxtrot that went off flight plan. Some Canadians smuggled in whiskey, a moose got loose, or something to that effect. Right. And out of all the guesswork, it never would have been that there was a Chinese balloon up in the northern part of the United States. But alas, here we are. Now, a lot of people will ask the question, why did it come in from the north? Well, that obviously has to do with placement and where it was released. Now, the United States, obviously, when this thing went up, wherever it was in the world, they knew about it. It's too big of a profile. It will show up. These things are literally Mylar and then whatever canisters at the bottom of them. They're not necessarily easy to spot when they're at that altitude, but we have other means to identify something at higher altitude, something at mid altitude, and something at low altitude. And predominantly, you're going to know when one of those goes up. The problem is that how many went up? Where was it released? And what was the reaction from the United States government? Now, there's a few things that I want to be really, and I want to tread carefully on. I've got some information on this, and this should intrigue you. Share the show if you haven't, because I think people would find this interesting. Once again, we're on a Thursday night. Most people think we're not on, so the numbers should be a little rough. But either way, the interesting part about this is that from the White House has said, well, you know, Joe Biden was given the option to blow it out of the sky, paraphrasing, but we decided not to. Now, they don't tell you why, but more than likely it's for observation and collection, right? They understand that the data is being transferred real time. The photographs they're taking, they're possibly intercepting radent or electronic intelligence, ELINT, whatever it would be, but more than likely imagery analysis or op intelligence. That's what it's collected, and it's already sent that back home. But the United States might want to get a look at this and go ahead and wait for it to come down, and obviously go ahead and, you know, capture what's there. Now, here's the problem, is that China most assuredly has an override on this thing, and when it obviously the balloon loses its ability to stay afloat and loses that ability to hang in the troposphere, ionosphere, wherever it's at, it's going to come back down to Earth. And when that accelerometer hits, if the technology isn't manual, it's automatically going to pop a chute and then lands somewhat safely. People in the movies, you think a chute comes down and it's all Shangri-La and it's all soft, like falling on pillows. No, it's not. And you take an impact, but I digress. You would also think that China has the ability to say, no, we're just going to go ahead and turn off the failsafe on that thing. We're going to let it come down to Earth at terminal velocity at 180 some odd miles an hour and turn into essentially a soda can. So the whole thing of we want to take a look at it doesn't really wax true to me, to be honest. But that's what the government's saying. So the first thing I want to say is everyone should calm down, because this happens. It's happened before. These balloons have been seen before, not just from China. We've seen bear foxtrots, we've seen subs, we've seen MiGs, we've seen all sorts of things. We've seen drones. The Russians constantly probe and collect intelligence on us, just like we do on them, and it's not that big of a deal. So does China, and so does everyone else. The interesting thing that I want, what am I not going to like, Glenn? Oh, Carl says virus delivery device. No, No, it's too unstable and too unpredictable. That's a horrible delivery device. Why would you do that when you can just put somebody on a plane? No. It's too complicated. Stop it. They're just doing intel. Okay, come on, relax. Because that balloon's going to interfere with the chemtrails anyway. So it's okay. So I want to show you if I did a little digging. So just the way my mind works, and I'm like, okay, I want to see what Washington, I wish Leroy was on, but Leroy's probably busy, I would assume. I haven't spoken to him in 2 days. That leads me to believe that Leroy's busy. And he has drill this weekend. So, and honestly, he has never or will never be a source for me. He's too smart, would never do that. So, but I can't wait to get him back and talk to him. So anyway, so here's the thing. Yeah, I've already talked about the Chinese police stations. Here's the picture I want to show you. And this is really interesting. This is something you're not seeing on the news. You're not seeing this on the media. And you wouldn't, because this would require some sort of investigatory skills. And it's pretty simple. These are, and you can find this information fairly readily available, where you can go to Flight Radar 24 and you can do a search for planes over the United States at any given time. And these are the flight plans of 3 KC-135s. Now, if you don't know what a KC-135 is, I'm going to help you. It is a Boeing aircraft. It's called the Stratotanker. And the KC-135's responsibility, specifically the KC-35R, there's transport KC-135s. There's KC-135s that are used for electronic intelligence. There's KC-135s that are used for sub-hunters and things of that effect that support in an AWACS type of situation. But the KC-135 is a refueler. And the only reason to have a refueler in the air is because there's other things in the air that aren't on the radar, because the normal radar can't pick up the profile of an F-35. And most assuredly, if a KC-135 is up there, you have F-35s available and ready to blow that thing out of the effing sky in a New York second. And the whole reason to have 3 KC-135s is because you've got a squadron of F-35s up there. So just to really put this in perspective, the United States at any given moment could have blown that thing out of the air. Number one. Number two, it kind of doesn't smack true that the United States, well, we had an opportunity to shoot it down, but we didn't. And not tell us why they didn't shoot it down, when obviously they want to try to take a look at is what they're going to say. But here's what it comes down to. I believe that you're in a defensive posture. You have a foreign asset in United States airspace, which most assuredly is a violation, but kind of like a proxy war, a violation that we overlook because everybody spies on everybody, just like everybody tries to steal each other's elections and rig elections, and just like everybody, tries to, hack people. This is what governments do. So it's kind of a speakeasy kind of thing, not a speakeasy as a bar that's unlabeled during Prohibition, but a speakeasy as no one really talks about it. It's kind of like just a well-kept secret. But to me, if I'm the president of the United States, and I do what I always do, I said, okay, well, what would Trump do? What would Obama do? And what would Biden do? Trump would have blown it the fuck out of the sky. Like that. The moment that thing entered Canada, he would have called Trudeau and said, Trudeau,
don't be rude.
I'm coming in. I'm sending a squadron of F-35s. We're going to blow that fucking thing out of the sky. I don't know why he turned into Kennedy all of a sudden. I'm going to blow it out like a chocolate chip cookie, like Monica blew me. So I swear to God, we're going to blow that fucker to kingdom come. So there was an opportunity to blow it out of the sky. Donald Trump would have done it before it even entered international waters or Canadian airspace. He's would have called Trudeau. I'm flying over. We're going to shoot that thing down. That's, in my opinion, what would have happened. Obama would have sent China money, few pallets full of cash, and asked them kindly not to do it again, and apologize for our transgressions of spying on them for the last 50 years and say that we're sorry we did it, and here's a little bit of money to make amends. And Joe Biden, when I asked myself the question, what's he going to do late last night, the answer was, he's going to tuck his fucking tails between his legs and he's not going to let his military do anything. Or he's not going to do anything and blame the Joint Chiefs for not being able to make a decision. Trust me when I say this, the Joint Chiefs have as much interest in that balloon as they do in alternators for freaking 82 Hondas. That technology has been long since mastered by the United States. There is nothing in that balloon that is going to tell the United States anything that they really want to know. Now, conspiracy theorists will tell you, oh, it's a disease or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? There's cheaper and easier ways and with less evidence to simply bring a virus in a completely benign container that looks like everything else, like a toothpaste tube, and just literally shake everyone's hand or cough on everybody when you're on a flight. Come on, stop. What it comes down to is the United States did not want to shoot this down. Because what it is, most assuredly, is not China trying to find something in Montana, because any type of nuclear response or Minutemens or any type of ICBMs that we have all along the Midwest, which we have plenty and everyone knows this, it's the best kept secret in the world. Everyone already knows where they're at because Russia knows. And for 20 years, we were spying on each other to know where every single hardened, bunkered site is where there are intercontinental ballistic missiles. Everyone knows where they are. There's no reason to go up to Montana. There's no reason to go up. You're not probing for weakness. And you're certainly not, as China has no logistical possibility of attacking the eastern seaboard, the western, the south, or the north of the United States. In fact, there's no country on the planet, even with combined resources, that could do a attack on the United States. From a logistical standpoint, it would make Normandy look like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So China knows that. So what's China doing? Well, duh. Of course you know what China's doing. China is poking the American Eagle. And if we shoot down one of their balloons, well, what are they going to do? Are they going to launch a missile over Japan? The next time Japan goes ahead and does some surveillance or Taiwan does surveillance, are they going to shoot that down? What happens the next time that the United States goes down into the Lemnos Isles or goes down into French Polynesia or even the Sea of Japan or the Sea of China or the Chinese Straits, Taiwanese Straits? It's simply a escalation tactic to get the United States to bite. And in this case, the Joint Chiefs know that. So that's what you do. You don't shoot it down. You go ahead and wait for it to fall. You collect the information about it, and then you leave it alone. Because it's simply designed to antagonize the United States in doing something that China can use. So when they give their litany of reasons of why they're going to go into Taiwan, they can simply say, well, remember that one time when they shot down one of our balloons for no reason? It simply hit a wind shear. It was off course. We didn't mean for it to be in Montana, United States. Sure you didn't. This is why. It makes sense. These things have come across before. They've happened many times before. You don't hear much about it because it's no big frickin' deal. And there it is. Okay? So relax about the frickin' balloon. And when Leroy comes on after all this is said and done, he'll tell you the same thing based on his opinion. All right? Good stuff. All right, so that's number one tonight. Go Stros. Yes. They're pretty good this year. I love that they got Jordan as the top 10 player in the Major League Baseball. I think he's top 5. If he had better defensive capabilities, which he's a great left fielder, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's ever going to be a Gold Glover, but he's solid. But he is the best pure hitter in the game. I don't care what anyone says. Anyone looks at the numbers, he's the best pure hitter in the game. Period. He has all the markings of a Tony Gwynn with the power of Barry Bonds and just the smooth stroke of Ken Griffey. The guy's ridiculous. He's one of the best players I've ever seen as far as hitting the ball. Just, you can't throw anything at him. Doesn't matter where you throw it. They tried to do up and high, and that hurt him a little bit, and then he figured out how to hit that ball. And here's the thing that everyone needs to know about the Astros before we go into the next topic, is the Astros, here's a stat. They were the team that got the least amount of outs from the shift in baseball. That's the shift, is when you go ahead and you can move the shortstop to left or right side, pinch the first baseman up towards second base or the third baseman up towards second base, and literally stack the right or left side based on the cone percentage of where the hitter's going to hit. This guy hits to left field in an infield hit 3% of the time. Great. We're going to go ahead and move everyone to the right towards first base because this guy only hits this way 3% of the time, and we're going to leave a gap. Now, if he turns on the ball and goes ahead and pulls it the other way as a lefty or a righty, great. It's a rare thing. But more often than not, it's going to hit into the shift, and we're going to have a better chance of getting out because we have 4 guys versus 2. Get it? Good. The shift is going away from baseball. One of the worst things ever. The Astros got the least amount of outs in baseball using the shift, which means that all these other teams relied on it, and the Astros are just that damn good defensively that they don't need it, number one. The number 2 thing is the Astros happen to be the number 1 team who hit into the shift, but still have one of the best offenses in baseball, which now means without the shift, teams are going to have a harder time getting them out, which means that the offense of the Astros are just going to exponentially increase because the shift is gone, and their defense is going to get that much better because they're still going to get people out. The Astros are going to have a very good team next year, and a lot of people are not looking at that. The shift might literally give the Astros one of their best seasons ever because it's gone. Tell me what you think. All right. When is spring training? 60 days. Well, baseball starts in 60 days. I think spring training is 30. Yeah. Usually baseball starts early this year. I think it's March 28th. So spring training it might be the 20th or the 30th. All right. Anyway. All right, here's the deal. I know, baseball. Don't get upset. I got to bring a little sports. This Farking guy. Astros still suck. What does that mean? Yeah, suck as in World Series champions? Yeah, they do suck, don't they? Yeah. Sound a little jealous. Maybe what you can do is take that jealousy and go find a trash can and stick your fucking head in it. Because we're World Series champions. And you can say we suck all you want. Nobody could touch us last year. Nobody. All the Phillies are going to, remember New York Yankees? We want the Stros. No, you don't. Nobody wanted the Stros. Nobody wants the Stros. Yeah. Guess what? We lost Verlander, but we got Hunter Brown, who is, if you haven't seen the comparison between Hunter Brown and Justin Verlander, they literally have the exact same arm, the exact same style of pitching, the exact same way of pitching a slider versus a fastball, high fastball, low fastball. It all looks the same coming out of the hand. This kid's going to be a rock star. He went from 41 pitcher prospect to top 19. In my opinion, the guy's going to be starting this year. He's going to be wicked hot. The Astros don't suck. You suck. You're just jealous because your team sucks balls. What are you, a Yankees fan? I'm sure. All right, so let's get to the right thing. Here we are. Hunter frickin' Biden. Yes, and Justin Verlander gets to go home and smash Kate Upton. That's, what else can you say? It's kind of nice when you can let Justin Verlander, the Cy Young winner, walk, and your pitching staff is probably better than it was. Come on. Stros are going to crush. All right. Thanks for the trash talk, Yankees fan. They don't piss me off. Do I seem pissed off? I'm just trash talking. This is all fun and good. The Avs are Stanley Cup champions too. My baseball team and hockey team, national champions in the same year. I know it's just so much winning over here on this side. It's really hard to stay humble with all this winning, Thank you. I did nothing but have season tickets to both sports teams for a better part of my life. You know, I Braves rule. No, you don't. No, you don't. You had one of the best pitching rotations ever in baseball. And since then, you've won a World Series. Congratulations. You're going to be pretty good next year. You're not going to beat the Stros. Stros in 5. Stros in 5. All right, whatever. Listen, Braves are going to be a good team. It very well could be the Braves and Stros. Yeah, they're good. Toronto doesn't have the pitching. They've got the bats. San Diego, meh. Phillies, who cares? Braves got a great team. You know, Yankees, who gives a shit about the Yankees? Yeah, Stros in 5. Yeah, dude, we have the Yankees number. There's nothing they can do. They've brought in all the best pitchers, all the best bats, and they still can't win a freaking game against us in a postseason. Yeah, it's probably going to be the Braves. Braves are a good team. I'm not disrespecting you, but they don't rule. There's only one team right now that rules, and that's the Houston Astros. The trash cans. Come on. You guys can say it all you want. It doesn't mean anything. You didn't win the national championship. You didn't win the World Series. It's us. Okay. Hunter Biden openly admitted that it's his laptop. Can this guy just go away? The problem I have with this, besides my allergies acting up, why would you boycott baseball? Why would you boycott hockey? I can understand basketball and NFL, but why would you boycott baseball? What did baseball do to you? They took a knee for a couple games? Yeah. Mets. Oh, the mentally challenged younger brother of the Yankees? Come on, the Mets. God. Oh, God, how cute. How cute is that? Mets haven't been relevant since Mike Piazza. And they weren't even relevant then. Darryl Strawberry, after his 7th time in rehab. You don't want to do sports with me. Let's keep it civil by talking about politics. Let's not do sports. I'm vicious with sports. I'm not a good guy with sports. Okay. Hunter Biden, how many times did he deny that this was his laptop? How many times the administration said that this wasn't his laptop? How many times did the news media say it wasn't his laptop? Facebook, Twitter? Let me ask you a question. Should Facebook's CEO step down? We've already got Twitter. We got Elon Musk. Should Mark Zuckerberg step down for lying to the American people? If he diddled his secretary, he would be asked to step down. White Sox? Oh, come on. Okay, please. Okay, please. That's the short bus of baseball teams. It's the Whites. Please stop. Stop. Frank Thomas could take a shite ton of eugenics and still probably out-hit everyone on their starting lineup. Okay, stop. Their 1 through 9 is trash. White Sox. White Sox, my God. Okay. If you say the Chicago Cubs next, I'm going to hang up. We're done. All right. Zuckerberg should step down as CEO. And it has nothing to do with that he essentially takes sides, that he puts a shite ton of money, $500 million in elections. The guy is dishonest. And he is a publicly traded company who lied to the public. No, I'm not going to stop with baseball, Poppy. Poppy, I will specifically start talking about baseball again if you tell me not to. It's my show. If I want to talk about baseball, I'll talk about baseball. I talk about sports never, and I have a rule. I try not to, but if I do, you're going to have to suck it up. I love my sports. I keep it out of the show a lot, but if I'm having a mood, just let me have my mood. It'll pass. Baseball, 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 hockey, hockey, hockey. Okay. Hunter Biden and this laptop have just put the entire media, social media, the DNC, the White House administration, and everybody and their mother who denied that this laptop was his on notice. On notice. Hunter Biden said in not so many words, yeah, it's my Poppy goes. She's telling everyone else to shut up. Thanks, Poppy. I like your name, by the way. Poppy's like, I'm not talking about you. Poppy, are you Greek? Casada-Popoulos, right? Or is it Casady-Popoulos? It's Casada. Casada-Popoulos. I think that's it. Are you Greek? You got Callias right here. Pota Callias. My Yaya and Papu were obviously from Greece. Big Poppy. The Big Pop. All right. So you got freaking Hunter saying, listen, obviously the laptop was compromised. He admits the laptop is his now, but it was compromised. Remember, this wasn't his laptop. This was fabricated. This was Russia. Russia created this laptop. Russia created the laptop. This was a disinformation campaign to go after his dad. This was Russia, the ones who stole the 2016 election, Russian collusion, decided to make a fake laptop. And it was a plant full of fake Russian information that was disinformation. And now the story is, because, Mr. Daddy Warbucks gets nailed with classified files and knows that he's going to be under indictment soon. Because think about it, folks. His daddy's supporters are creating fundraisers for his legal defense. This has to be the biggest case of premonition versus Nostradamus. Why are you raising money for a defense when you haven't been charged with anything? And then he says, well, may have been paraphrasing, may have been my laptop, but, it was compromised. We know it was his laptop because you had dick pics all over it of you doing cocaine and measuring out grams of coke and hookers and prostitutes. Yeah, we know. And you had some illicit material on there. And although I'm not a big Rudy Giuliani fan, it's not too stretch of a belief to say that there was illicit underage material on there. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But my understanding is the people who have say there was. There's no reason that when you sign a repair receipt of ownership and a transfer of funds, an exchange of funds take place, you sign a contract with a repair shop that basically says all material that is on this computer that is of illegal nature and deemed appropriately illegal by the standards set forth in Title CCC.143672, paragraph 4, will be reported to the authorities if a crime has taken place. Not only that, there is a forfeiture of your property over a certain amount of time if you leave it there and don't claim it. This happens at repair shops. This happens on layaway. This happens in lost and found. This is standard practice in all retail type shops, whether it's repair or brick and mortar. You attempt to contact the customer by email, by phone, whatever means necessary. And if they don't reply back to you, well, then your stuff is forfeit. So on two accounts, there is absolute precedent and authority of this repair owner to release this information to the authorities and to seize this information as his property, which it is. There's no violation of rights. This wasn't a legal move. This wasn't a three-letter agency without a warrant, without habeas corpus, without due process, without Miranda rights. This was a private citizen who obtained legal two computers that were surrendered by Hunter Biden with illicit material that was more than likely illegal in some case or form. And we know the pictures of measuring out crack most assuredly is illegal. Whether you like that or not, he has every right to give that to the FBI or whatever authorities he seems fit, period. And all of this was denied by Joe Biden. So here's my problem. Now, people are going to say, well, Donald Trump. But no, we're not talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about Joe Biden. We're not talking about Donald Trump. Ringing the bell on this. We're talking about Joseph Biden. You know.
We should make sure that we have no one going to jail for a drug offense. They go directly mandatory prison.
I would expect the paddy wagon to be ready for Hunter Biden any moment with that quote. Hunter Biden just admitted that the laptop is his. Ergo, anything on that computer is now his. The FBI forensic analysis can figure out every single keystroke that any murder suspect had put into Google for their entire existence, even at libraries, on an IP that doesn't have to be theirs. Simply by logging into Google, using Google search, they know every keystroke that every person in America who's ever used Bing, ever used Google, they know where you've been. They know where you're at. Even if you wipe your computer clean, they can get everything back unless you write it to zeros and pass it over like frickin' 700 times. And even then, forensic analysis of this computer, they can figure out if anyone put this on before, during, or after change of possession happened. We know it's his. He just admitted it's his. So let me ask you a question. Do I change my tune that I care about Hunter Biden? No, I still don't give a shit. I don't care anything about Hunter Biden. What I care about is that if Joe Biden lied, if these guys did share confidential information with foreign governments, worked in conjunction with a foreign government in any way, shape, or form to grease the wheels of their entry into politics or into glad handing or making connections with government officials, or maybe making it easier for certain chauffeurs to go ahead and spy on Dianne Feinstein, or certain Chinese spies to go ahead and bump uglies with Eric Swalwell, allegedly, because he hasn't admitted that he had sex with her. And looking at that guy, that doesn't surprise me. I don't think he's had sex ever in his entire life. The guy can't even grow frickin' a beard. We call that jail pussy, what he's got on his face. Sorry to be graphic. Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, the big guy, they don't have incontrovertible evidence, but there's enough evidence at least can give you an idea of what was taking place. You have eyewitness testimony, you have affidavits, you have people who've been investigated and talked to by the FBI who openly say that the big guy's Joe Biden, that there's money changing hands between governments. You have Joe Biden himself talking about blackmailing Ukraine with $1 billion not given by Obama so they could fire a prosecutor who was investigating his son. What a coincidence. It's almost like finding top secret documents on 4 different properties. What a coincidence. There's enough there, even though Joe Biden says there's not enough there. Circumstantial evidence, yes or no, that at least garners a few questions, I would assume. This doesn't help Joe Biden. This doesn't help Hunter Biden, especially when the top secret documents, remember when they said Trump, they were all nuclear, they were secrets about our nuclear football. That was all bullshit, by the way. But what's not bullshit is that these documents were related to Ukraine and China and Russia. And isn't it interesting that Hunter Biden had relationships with some of these countries. Is that another coincidence? The coincidences are piling up, and what sounded like conspiracy sounds a lot like somebody needs to start digging. Because if the president of the United States is compromised, and he has been lying, which he most certainly has, based upon Hunter Biden's admission that the laptop is his, even though the administration, Joe Biden, and everyone else said it wasn't, including the media, the state-run media, the DNC, and anyone else who supported Joe Biden has said that there's no there, that this is all a lie. This is all made up by Russians. Well, here we are again, where we're finding out that the information provided to us is all bullshit. Now, we also are kind of like mushrooms. We like our government to keep us in the dark and feed us shit. But when they do occasionally give us a little bit of light once in a while, it does give us a different viewpoint from our normal in the dark phase. And when we do get to look around once in a while, we do have some questions. And this one deserves to be answered. Now, people might say, what about Trump, Matt? We're not talking about Trump. I've already told you my opinion. If Donald Trump took documents, took top secret documents, and did what they say they did, that he sold them to Putin, right, because Donald Trump's hard up for money, what the fuck ever, then he should go to jail if he's found guilty in a court of law. But there is a far cry from that, and no charges have been filed, and there won't be. Joe Biden, on the other hand, gets cushy warrants delivered where he gets 3, 4, 5 days notice. Hey, we might be coming on Sunday at 9 a.m., just possibly. You might want to go ahead and get the burn bag ready. You guys going to be burning some winter leaves, Joe? You might want to, so you can get rid of some of these documents you find. We're going to go ahead and let you know that there's a raid coming. Notice how nobody's calling it a raid. You know, but how nobody's calling a full assault on Mar-a-Lago. Car-a-Lago is a voluntary raid by Mr. Joe Biden who's cooperating. Isn't that special?
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It comes down to this. Joe Biden isn't a good dude, okay? He said Corn Pop wasn't a good dude. Joe Biden's not a good dude. Some people say Donald Trump's not a good dude. Fine. I could see there are times in his history that he hasn't been a good dude. Fine. Completely acceptable. But there's only one guy who's being accused of working with foreign governments who actually has taken money from foreign governments. Now, they go, well, Donald Trump took money. He had hotels overseas. Of course, a businessman's going to have hotels overseas. Why wouldn't he? You know who else does business overseas? Apple, Amazon, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Hostess Cupcakes, for God's sake. All businesses do overseas. But the interesting thing is Biden is a lifetime politician who's worked for the United States government and held a clearance for the United States government and has to sign that he is not working with a foreign intelligence or a foreign government on their behalf. And if he has not disclosed that with the Hatch Act, well, then Joe Biden is in some serious shit. That's the difference. And the Hatch Act puts the proverbial cuffs on Joe Biden. Now, if anything's done about it, is a whole nother matter. That's a whole nother conversation, as Conan would say. That's a whole nother story. Are we talking about the laptop of top official energy? PTN wanted. I don't know what you're talking about, Drew. Nothing is going to happen. Well, Michelle, you can keep saying that. You can keep saying that. But ultimately, something will happen. Whether it's to your liking or my liking remains to be seen. Nothing will happen, maybe, but the PR damage is done. You don't know if nothing will happen or something will happen, because there's one thing that is most assuredly happening right now is the United States of America and its citizens are sick and effing tired of our government, and that's on all sides. And we're getting to a boiling point here. And you may not see it, but the ultra left and the ultra right may not be getting along, but the middle Americans, the 90% of us, are sick and tired of this shit on all sides. There will be accountability. It's just a matter of what it's finally going to be. And if a headline comes out that Joe Biden sold secrets to foreign governments during business dealings that he obtained while he was a senator and a president through his son or through an unidentified source, that shit's not going to fly. And just because nothing will be done in your eyes doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about it. Fang Fang just gave Swalwell a hand. See what happens if it's on your computer and take it to a repair shop. You're going to jail. Benny's absolutely right. I worked for Apple. And I will tell you, not to name specific incidents, but if child porn was found on a computer, we reported it to the authorities. If we found that a computer had illicit material on it, not like on the key, we had cocaine computers come in with coke all over it. We weren't allowed to touch it, and we would call the police. If there was violence on there to animals or to domestic abuse and things to that effect, we would contact the authorities and turn the computer over to the authorities. And unfortunately, when you're working on a computer, you have to go through certain things to fix a computer, especially if it's a software issue. If you take something that is illegal on a computer to a repair shop and they see it, it is their obligation to report it, the crime, period. Even the possible appearance of a crime. I think the dots are starting to be connecting. Right, Karen, and that's the point. And remember this, I never made any accusations or any predictions. What I did is I told you a series of events that are all circumstantial that line up in a way that questions need to start being asked. You need to start disproving things, just like my mind does on everything, and say, but I can't disprove these things because I heard Joe Biden say those things to Ukraine. I heard him blackmail to have the special prosecutor fired. I heard him say the laptop wasn't real. I heard his pundits and his administration say it wasn't real. I heard White House officials say it wasn't real. I heard military leaders say it wasn't real. I heard intelligence officials from all alphabet agencies, including Brenner and Tapper and everyone else, who said it wasn't real. And I just heard Hunter Biden say it was real, but it was compromised. I have a freaking $47 million investigation by Mueller that said nothing happened. That not one vote, he couldn't prove that one vote was changed. Well, that doesn't sound like Russian collusion. Anybody stole an election to me. Hell, you can prove that 2020 had more fraud than that. And I'm one of the people who's completely against that bullshit and tell you that that's absolutely true. So when do breadcrumbs become a loaf of bread? And when does a loaf of bread become a baker? And when does a baker become a bakery? We may not be at a bakery, but we're certainly at a loaf of bread, and we need to start asking some questions. And not that a baker's a threat, but it is if you're another baker in a town. And if you're a preserves or a jam maker, you probably want to know if there's going to be another bread king in town, so you have to start making more. And if you purchase bread for your table every single day, you may want to know if the prices are going to go down because there's going to be a competitive market now. As citizens, we need to understand these things. Why? Because it's in our best interest. Not just from an existentialist point of view or an economic point of view or spiritual or our belief in the government, because it's a difference between right and wrong. And just because the United States government doesn't give a flying shit about that doesn't mean as citizens we should ever give up that fight. So nothing will be done. So what are you going to do? How many people are you going to educate? How many people are you going to talk about this with? How many people are you going to go to get to the polls in 2024? Because, folks, we've got to do something. And doing nothing isn't the option, because plenty of that's being done. Yeah, we're going to talk about Omar right now. Corn Pop. Wasn't Hunter living at the house? Yes, he was. Corn Pop was a bad dude. How many documents are there? Well, that's a good point. And not only how many is a great question, right? Because you hear there was a couple. No, it was a couple the first time. I'm pretty sure it's more than several. No, I'm pretty sure it's more than a dozen now. New ice cream flavor, impeach. 2 scoops. I like that. America is at a simmer and maybe a slow boil, but the pot hasn't boiled over. Not yet. Not yet. I love Apple products. So do I. Spot on, Matt. We 90% are sick and have zero confidence there will be justice. What's the laws about prepaid cell phones? Do they have to reveal users and content? Absolutely not. Nope. Nope. Prepaid cell phones don't have a contract. The contract is the purchase. And good luck ever getting that to be, the FCC is never going to, there's no way to monitor that. I don't know, man. Press doesn't like Joe Biden right now. They're not happy with him. Would the information on the laptop turn out the lights in a city? I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about the guy that lied under oath. What Will said. Are you talking about the trial of evidence, Matt? Trail of evidence? What are you talking about? Sorry, guys, I'm behind. Since Matt Gaetz entered the contents in the record, can the public view it under the Freedom of Information Act? Not if there's an ongoing investigation. But once an investigation is included, yes, it has to go through a certain process. But under the Freedom of Information Act, most assuredly, the American public can subpoena records. But not if it's under a current investigation. Question, why haven't the impeachment papers been started? Because you don't want to impeach Joe Biden. Why would you want to impeach Joe Biden? You want Kamala Harris up there? No. No, you don't. And Kevin McCarthy wouldn't take the presidency for a short interim point if Kamala was removed. And then it would have to be voted on. No. Let him stay. Let him run. He's going to lose. What about this Chinese spy plane circling our government doing? There's no Chinese spy plane circling our government. Dino, relax. I already covered it. Go back and watch it again. Ramon says, nice analogy. If you don't think voting matters, remember Virginia and Wyoming. Yeah. Do I think Ilhan Omar was an anti-Semite? No, I don't think. I know. There's a difference. I don't think you watched my last video about Kevin McCarthy and the 3 things and the people he removed, trying to remove, and what Ilhan Omar said about the Jews. It's not a think. It's a no. By her own words. Remember, I don't make guesses. Got to have evidence. And by her words, she is absolutely an anti-Semite. Oh, please, I'm already sick of hearing Omar, AOC whine and cry. Yeah, but we're going to listen to it anyway. Joe Wheeler says, I read thousands of pages. So have I. What are we talking about? The Mueller investigation? Thing is, they're trying to get DeSantis to run 24. If we have that, it will divide us and we will lose. It's funny, Benny. It's interesting that you'll say that DeSantis will divide us. I don't think DeSantis would have any problem standing out if he lost the primary and not saying a frickin' word. There's only one person who won't, and that's Donald Trump. So the only person who's going to divide us if Donald Trump enters a primary with DeSantis and doesn't take a knee and bow out. There's the only worry. DeSantis, I have no Nikki Haley, DeSantis, hell, even Mike Pence will bow out gracefully. Donald Trump is the only one who's demonstrated that he wouldn't. I think your anger and focus is at the wrong person, Betty. That's just me. Hey, kid. You going to sleep?
Love you.
Good night. Say night.
Night.
Good night, everybody. Hey, you see I almost have 200 subscribers on YouTube?
Yeah.
It's growing. I know, it's great. You have a nice dad. Matt, make some ice cream shirts with classified on them. Ooh. Melanie, don't let me forget that. How many documents are at University of Delaware? Interesting. More like how many are not there. That's even funnier. How many congressmen does it take to screw in a light bulb? We will never know. It's stuck in committee. Ooh, that's funny. That's why you pay cash for burners. Was Omar let go because of her performance? No. Oh, I don't think so. I think Omar was let go because of her comments. At least that's what was said. We're going to cover it in a second. Hang tight. Look what happened to Arizona. What happened to Arizona? Specifically, tell me what happened to Arizona. I feel like nothing is being done about the docs. They were found in November before the election. Could they have had that bearing on the... Well, of course they could have. They would have had a huge impact. The papers have been done, just not gone through. They will never tell the truth under oath. They answer to themselves. Well, I've been saying that for a while. So if Joe gets impeached or otherwise made accountable, what are we going to do with Kamala? Well, that's the problem. Kamala would be the president. No, we don't want that. Let Joe Biden do. Impeaching a president does not help. We're going into an election year. Bill Clinton, Richard Nixon, Donald Trump all jumped in the polls 7, 9, and 11 points respectively. Bill Clinton had the highest 11-point jump in approval rating. Do you really want Joe Biden to jump up to 53, 54% in approval rating by having an impeachment hearing? No. Don't impeach him. I've said it for 2 years. Leave him alone. He's doing enough damage. Why the hell would we try to stop him? When your opponent is hanging themselves, give them more rope. Don't take up the slack. Give them more. No. Impeaching Joe Biden is a horrible idea. One is we don't have the numbers to get him removed. Number one, it's a waste of fucking time. It's a waste of money. If you complained about it with Trump, why the hell do you want it for Biden? Let him do himself in. Let him run for president. That's all he needs to do to lose. What about the Republican councilwoman that was shot and killed today in New Jersey? Karen, I haven't seen it. Matt, remember a few months ago I said who would run as president or VP? Only way Biden would win again? Well, right. I think you and I have both said that, Melanie. Filing for freedom of information does not mean you will get documents. That's correct. There has to be a need. And there also has to be, what I told you, is that if it's under investigation, you won't get them. The mainstream media tells people what to think. She seemed to be a very kind woman, Karen says. Interesting today, media is still skewering Biden documents, yet Schumer, other dumbos rallying for him. Susie says, I'm happy to hear you say that, Matt. Thank you. You're a pretty reasonable man. What did I say? Is Huckabee running? I don't know. Sarah or Mike? I don't think Sarah would run. Do you? Didn't she just get, what did she just get nominated to? Oh yeah, she's going to do the State of the Union address. The readdress after Biden's done with his. That should be good. No, they're just getting her ready. They see her as somebody who could possibly run or make a great VP. No, I think Sarah has Senate shot. I think she has a long political career ahead of her. I love her. No, I don't think Huckabee's running. But maybe. It still needs to be shot down, whatever it is. Sorry, I was late. I get, Dina, go watch what I said about it. How many places have they found classified? 4 for Biden. I honestly, at this point, Trump should bow out. Will says, I voted for Trump twice, but he would be the cause of division if he ran again. Yeah, because he wouldn't concede. DeSantis said he wouldn't run for president. When running for governor, he'll look like a liar. That doesn't matter. Do you know how many people have done that? Mike Pence did that. He said he wasn't going to be VP, and he was. Hogan said he was going to finish out his governorship. He's going to run for president. Nobody keeps that word. That doesn't mean anything. Nobody will care. No, nobody will care about that. Why did they take the documents? That was each of their motives. Well, that's the question we need to ask. Kick Omar out of the country. She doesn't need to go out of the country. She just doesn't need to be on an oversight committee with a clearance because she's an anti-Semite. Omar got what the American people wanted. Trump 2024. I don't know. I'm not mad at DeSantis, just trying to say they're trying to pull people away from Trump. Trump has done that himself. Come on, Benny. Trump has not had a good 2 years. And I'm a Trump supporter. And I love him. I really do. I love the guy. I think he makes stupid choices sometimes. And I think if he would have done just what he did in his first 3.5 years, he'd be one of the best presidents in history. And if he could just have shown a little bit of humility during COVID, he probably would be the president right now. Please nobody say that he is. My condolence to her family, Karen. Yeah, we lost a viewer last night, Susan, I think her name was. And I'm not, a last name out of respect, I'm not gonna say, but was a long-time listener. And I hate that. That is the second listeners we've lost. Yeah. It's horrible. Yeah. Sarah, I don't think Sarah will run. It's not her time. If both Joe and Kamala are removed, the Speaker of the House, McCarthy, third in line. Yeah, but it doesn't stay. There has to be a vote in the House. Then it's got to pass the Senate. That's not the way it works. It's not a permanent position. The leading party, which would be the Democrats, would actually vote on a replacement at that point as an interim until the election. That's not the way it works. What do you think they do with all the people that cross the border illegally? What do I think they do? It's not about a think. It's what they do. Drew says, how much for the seat? Drew, you're losing me, Bubba. You seem actively involved, but I'm not sure what you're referencing. I'm a little behind in comments. The race for Indiana governor in May will be the one to watch. Several Republicans and Libertarians are running against Hogsett. January, that's close spelling. It's really sad. That pot is getting ready to boil. Sharon, her name was Sharon. Didn't I just say that? Did I say Shannon? I thought I said Sharon. Didn't I say Sharon? Michelle? I thought I said Sharon. Did I? I hope I did. Like I said, I didn't quite remember her full name. I would have sworn I said Sharon. Did I not? Isaac, what can we impeach Kamala for? Doing nothing in office? Did I say Susan? Yeah, Sharon. I'm sorry. Folks, it's been a long day, and I'm sorry. It wasn't Susan, it was Sharon. Thank you. Thank you. I heard Kamala can't be president since her parents weren't natural U.S. citizens. Is this true? No, it's not true. As long as she's a U.S. citizen. Yes, you said Sharon. Thanks. I'm tired. So you want Harris in there? Who? Benny's got to be replying to somebody else. Yes, I think you did. Easy with the Bubba. Bubba in? Everyone's Bubba. Brother, Bubba, bro, dude. I say Bubba all the time. Male or female, I'll say Bubba. It's a term of endearment. No, Matt, you said Susan. Thanks. Sharon. Wait. Yes, Sharon. Damn it, man. Yep. It's not Sarah Huckabee battling a form of cancer. I don't. Maybe. Love watching your show. Thank you for being a true American and all the info. God bless you and your family. Yes, you said Sharon. Thanks, Lucy. No, I think I said Susan. I don't know what I said. Either way, I was wrong. Thanks, Lee. Oh my God, impeach Kamala for the cackling. That would be nice. There's so many viewers, Matt can't remember them all. She will be missed. It's not that. I'm just tired. Just tired. Long day. All right, let's get to this video. Not going to make excuses. I fucked up. It happens. I'm horrible with names. Let's watch this.
All right, gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute. Thank you. Now,
I want to be completely transparent about this whole thing. Matt Gaetz came out and said, wait a second. We can't necessarily remove Rashid Tlaib because freedom of speech is important. And we don't cancel people just because we disagree with them. Well, I happen to agree with what Matt Gaetz said to a point. When you, what the?
All right, gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Hold on. Lord, delete this. Get out of here. Close that. Go to a new window. Come over here. Press play.
All right, gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Command V.
thank you. Now,
All right, now shut up, AOC. Now, Matt Gaetz, who you don't get to go ahead and say, this is the problem. When somebody says something, you're like, oh, I really agree with that. And then they say something you don't like, you're like, he's a rhino. Matt Gaetz is not a rhino. Matt Gaetz is a constitutionalist. And he believes that Rashid Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and AOC and pretty much all the Democrats can be anti-Semitic if they want. That ultimately the voters are responsible for removing them, that we don't go after people simply because we disagree with them. I couldn't disagree with that more. There is a line. And here's why. Because if Matt Gaetz went up there and said something as racist as she did, as many times as she said it, Matt Gaetz would be taken out in cuffs. So let's stop pretending that hate speech is only from Republicans. It comes plenty from Democrats, and it has been since the days of the Ku Klux Klan, which they were responsible for, whether you want to go ahead and admit that or not, liberals. And I understand the Democrats look very different than they are today, and I don't hang that over your head. The only time I take umbrage with Democrats and bring that up is when they accuse us of being the racist party and being the party of the Klan and the party of Jim Crow laws and the party of Japanese internment camps and being against civil rights, which is a bunch of bullshit, and being the Dixiecrats. You're wrong. There was no major party switch. You're a moron. Read a book. That's the only time I got a problem with it. That's the only time I bring it up. Now, do I have a problem with AOC? Not when she's muted. She's very easy on the eyes. I think she's smoking hot. She's a Latino woman. Sorry. Look at my wife. I like the Latin women. I like I like big butts, and again, not lie. I like the Latin curves. Look at my wife. Smoking. She's Latin. I think AOC's hot. I think she's dumb as dog shit, but she's hot. So she gets a little bit of leeway with me when she's on mute. But then when she's off mute, she's fair game. Now, Ilhan Omar, she's horrible. Rashid Tlaib, I despise Rashid Tlaib. I would absolutely freaking pay to get her on my show. I would give her $10,000 to come on my show. I'd pay her 10 grand to come on here. And then I would subsequently embarrass her ass. I don't like that woman. She is a lying, sniveling, freaking victim blaming. I can't stand that woman. I'm playing with my hat. She drives me crazy. The way she looks. She can't walk frickin' from her office to the frickin' anteroom chambers without being out of breath. I want to say that I need to eat a salad. Can't stand that woman. Despise her. And I'll tell you why. Because she's always the same. It's all theatrics. And the Academy Award goes to Rashid Tlaib for the fakest cry ever. I mean, dude, talk about crocodile tears. It almost looked like OJ on the stand. I don't care about AOC. She's harmless. She's like Bernie Sanders. At least you know what you're going to get with her. At least you know. At least you know. If Rashid Tlaib and I were the last two people on the planet, she would be the last person on the planet. And if you don't know what I mean when I say that, you could find me at the bottom of a ravine. Not only would I not sleep with her to repopulate the planet, I would end my existence because she would eat me in my sleep anyway because she's a praying mantis. I despise that woman. And I don't say that about a lot of people because I'm like, everybody has value. The only value that Rashid Tlaib possesses is to make birth control a sound argument. That's the only benefit Rashid Tlaib has in this universe. Is you're going, I could have a person, I could have a baby that's like Rashid Tlaib. I think we should hold on and have a conversation. If you look up Karen in the encyclopedia, it's Rashid Tlaib. So let's go ahead and listen to these people and listen to their bullshit.
As a fellow New Yorker, I think one of the things that we should talk about here is also one of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States.
Yeah, Muslim's not a race. Isn't that what everyone says? Listen, I completely disagree. The Muslim people are so intertwined with their religion that the Muslim religion and Muslim people are synonymous with each other. However, you don't get to say that it's different with Jews. Because the Jesuits and the Jewish people are so intertwined with their religion that it is synonymous with their race. And if you ask any Jewish person and any Muslim, they'll tell you the same thing. So don't fucking sit here and tell me that she's going to make that comparison that Muslims are race and not give it to the Jews too, and means that Rashid Tlaib and fucking Ilhan Omar are just as racist as the 2014 fucking Republicans, like Paul Ryan, like Jason Chaffetz, Michelle Bachmann. The same thing. So I feel for AOC when she talks about a certain Republican who has made some comments too that I'm not a big fan of. And I think that she should go ahead and bring up article removal to go after those Republicans who made comments about Jewish people too. It's not excusable. I can't believe a person of her stature who made Long Island iced teas and Bloody Marys and mimosas doesn't understand that whataboutism isn't an argument that has any merit. Well, what about this? I don't care about this. We're talking about this. So right now we're talking about Ilhan Omar. If you want to talk about Probert, you want to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene later, fine. Bring up your own articles of removal. You have a process for this and try to remove them from office. Good luck getting the votes in the House. But don't sit here and tell me let me see. Bring it here. Oh, it's fantastic. No, yeah. Turn the hat to the side. Let me see. Can you? No. Turn it to the side. No. Not like a tomboy. Like this. Oh. Yeah, crooked to the side. That's it. Give me 5, G. You look great. You want to show everybody on camera? You look cute. No. You look cute. No? Okay. Love you. She's dressing up as Alice Paul. 1920s suffrage character. She had to find something in my wife's closet. I don't know if that says much about my wife's clothing. Susan says there's plenty of Jews. Yeah. Okay. Yes, there are many different people who are Jews, and there are many people who are Jewish and believe in Judaism. But that's not what I said. What I said to you is when we are talking about Israeli Jews Or are we talking about Jews who came from Israel who have replanted into the United States? That the Jewish religion and Judaism is closely attached as a race of people. And if you ask any Jew that of why they were killed and why the Holocaust took place, it was most assuredly based on their religion and their race. And Muslims, the same exact thing, and the Nation of Islam and the Muslims are Muslim people, and the Islamic religion are closely synonymous together. That is what I said. I didn't say there weren't Jews of every different nationality, just like there are Muslims who are not Islamic. But those religions are so closely entwined with the people and the race that making comments based on either is a form of racism. That is what I said. And that is what she's saying. And if she's going to say that, then you must say that the same holds true for Judaism and Jews. Period. Full stop.
United States of America, and this is an extension of that legacy. Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body. I had a member of the Republican caucus threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress.
Yeah, that's not what happened. See, the problem with AOC is she makes comments like, January 6th, I've got PTS because I wasn't there. She makes comments like, I go and walk my dog and people have threatened to kill me. All of that is sad. All of that's horrible, and it shouldn't happen in a civilized society. But if she's actually going to go ahead and quote people, she should quote them with what they said. And she should quote me. I'm not mocking her. I think it's horrible that she's received death threats. But guess what? I run a small-time podcast, and I receive at least 10 to 15 of those damn things every single month. I've actually had to have police increase patrols around my house and reach out to the local sheriff's department to increase patrols because people have made threats against my family. Does that mean I get to say whatever I want? Does that mean I get to do whatever I want? No. It's called accountability. And if you can't stand the heat, then get in the kitchen. That was sexist. Yeah, but funny.
Tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America.
Okay. Folks, please do me a favor and go speak to an Israeli. Go speak to an American Jew. Please go speak to somebody who came from Israel and has matriculated into the United States. And please ask them how synonymous religion and race are to the Jewish people. And then please ask a Muslim the same thing. And ask somebody who is Islamic or Arabic the same thing. There are many different Jews as far as a religion. You know what I'm talking about. When people make comments about Jews, they're not talking about somebody who is white who has embraced Judaism. They're not talking about a black person who is converted to Judaism. They're not talking about that. They're talking about Jewish blood, Israel, Judaists, Jesuits, who have replanted from Israel or are in Israel specifically. You know this. Stop playing coy and stop playing dumb. That is who Ilhan Omar is talking about. That is who the jackasses who came on my show, the soy boys, who came on and were saying anti-Semitic things just recently with Kanye and all that other crap. They're not talking about people who have converted. They are talking about people with Israeli blood. They are talking about Jesuits. They are talking about the Jewish people. And yes, whether you agree or not, Jesuits and the Judaism that is found in religious practices are synonymous with the Israeli people and people who are Israeli who have relocated to the United States or immigrated here. The same holds true with Arabic and Islamic people with the Muslim religion. And yes, there are black people who've converted to Muslim religion. There are plenty of people across the world. It's one of the largest religions on the planet. But you know what we're talking about. And you know what the 2014 Republicans were talking about with Sharia law. They weren't talking about the local synagogue or the local mosque. They weren't talking about black people who have converted to the Nation of Islam. Stop it. You know who they're talking about. You know who AOC is talking about. You know who Ilhan Omar is talking about. You know. Okay, Susie, okay, I'm done. Stop distracting from the show. Please. Your personal one experience is not, nobody's talking about you. You know this. And yes, you may have had anti-Semitic remarks. Then that just solidifies my point even more. The topic we are talking about tonight is anti-Semitism, specifically targeting Jewish Americans, Israeli Americans. That is who we're talking about. My great-grandmother fled Germany. I understand. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about people who converted. And I'm not saying that there's not anti-Semitism towards people who converted. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that there's one-offs. What I'm talking about is what Ilhan Omar, AOC, the 2014 Democrats, and certain Republicans have said in the institution of Washington, D.C., and who they're targeting. And one side is in support of ISIS, one is in support of Hezbollah and the Palestinians and the PLO, and the other side is on support of Israel and the Jesuits and Judaism religion, which is all closely tied. And there are others who are against the Arabic and Islamic people who follow the nation of Muslim and the Muslim religion. Period. Those are the people we're talking about. And that's who they're talking about. Let's not mix it up and try to dissect this so much that everyone gets to play the victim.
America, don't tell me because I didn't get a single apology.
Time has expired.
When my life was threatened. Thank you.
Whatever.
Censor Congresswoman.
Okay, here's the person. Now, some people say they find value in AOC. I kind of find value in AOC at times too. I believe AOC is I think you forgot how much she has influenced and stirred the pot in the Democratic Party. I think you have forgotten the power grab that she did against Nancy Pelosi and how she has stuck a stake in the road when it comes to Joe Biden, some of the things he's done. Okay. All right, Susie, I'm not going to get into it with you. Susie, I apologize, but this isn't the conversation. So I'm sorry.
Omar, in the same week, they introduced a bill to ban federal employees from engaging in censorship. Where are the free speech warriors today? The hypocrisy is obvious to the American people. You are showing who you all are, really. The gentlewoman's time has expired. Omar will not be silenced. The gentlewoman's time.
As she's about to be silenced, she's about to get gavelled out.
Congressman Omar, I am so sorry, has expired. That our country is failing you today.
She's not crying. There's no tears. There's nothing there.
Through this chamber, you belong. The gentlewoman is no longer recognized, and the gentleman from Mississippi is recognized.
People are like, slow clap. Paul Rivera says, Matt, I've met 6 people with numbers tattooed on their arm in my life. Their faces and stories will always be with me. I'm with you. I'm with you. Yep. Yeah, and once again, I am not saying that people who convert to the Muslim religion or who convert to Judaism have not had anti-Semitic slurs or comments or treatment. Just like people who are Islamophobic have not done that to people who have converted to the Nation of Islam. That's not what we're talking about. I respect those arguments and I respect those people, what they've been through, and they have a valid gripe. This is not what we're talking about. And if you're going to make that argument, then this is most assuredly solidifying my point that race and religion in some cultures are absolutely synonymous to each other, and they're symbiotic. And you cannot do one without the other, because the inherent crimes against Jews, and whether you're Jewish American or you're Israeli or any type, race, color, or creed, who find that Judaism is what you believe, you have been treated differently based on anti-Semitic tropes because of race and religion. And there is no distinguishment between the two. Okay, Susie, I don't understand why you're trying to educate me on this when there is nothing that you're saying that is countering my points at all. I don't understand. So I'm going to ask you to please either stop or make a counter argument to what I'm saying. Find one. Thanks.
Madam Speaker, I reserve.
Gentlewoman from
So we owe it to them not to make this a myth, but a reality. I didn't come to Congress to be silent. I came to Congress to be their voice. And my leadership and voice will not be diminished.
There it is. The one thing that she is not, and any politician is, from the president down to city council to dog catcher to the county clerk's recorder's office. You're not a leader. You're not our leader. Not one person who was elected by the American people is a leader. Joe Biden is not the leader of this country. He is the representative and the president of the United States. He represents the governors. He represents the American people's sovereignty, the security of our country, and the head law enforcement of the land, and a protector of our borders and the protection of the United States. He's not a leader. Nobody elected Ilhan Omar as a leader. Not one person. But this is what she sees herself at, as an elected king or queen in this case. And that's good, because most royalty slept with their family. Okay, joke. Allegedly. Sorry. Allegedly. You're not a leader. And that's the problem, is that she believes that she's sitting up on a pedestal and she's looking down upon her serfs and her peasants. You represent us. If anyone leads anyone, you follow our lead. And you work at the discretion of the American people. Not the president, not your political action committee, not your dark money, us.
If I am not on this committee for one term, my voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been.
Did you hear this? My leadership will be celebrated around the world. Who the fuck do you think you represent? The world? If that doesn't scream populist, if that doesn't scream antithetical to the Constitution and this government and this republic with an elected representative democracy, who she thinks she's a queen? I would love for her to visit the Congo. I would love for her to go into some of the hot spots in Afghanistan that are run by the Taliban. I would love for her to go and embrace some of the ISIS cells that are still around in the world today. And do you know what they would do to her? Does she have any understanding of what her stasis would be in Saudi Arabia, in Yemen, in the United Arab Emirates, in Morocco? She is not seen as a leader. Her status in the United States is the strongest and greatest representation of what women can do. And we are the bastions of freedom and equality, where women and men have equal rights with absolutely no equivocation. And she gets that in the bosom of our country and what our founders established for this republic, and the power of the people decided that these rights were inherent and not granted by the government. But whether you believe in God-given rights or natural rights, they are one and the same and inherent in every American and anyone who traverses on this soil. And for her to sit here and say that she is a leader of the world, lady, you can't even lead your fucking district.
So take your vote or not. I am here to stay, and I am here to be a voice against harms around the world and advocate for a better world.
On this
What a
vote,
crock.
the ayes are 218, the nays are 211, with one answering present. The resolution is adopted.
Well, you're gone now. And honestly, to be completely transparent with you, I have mixed feelings about it. I have mixed feelings about it because the Republicans didn't like it when the Democrats did it to them. But here's a taste of your own medicine. Elections have consequences. Isn't that what the Democrats say? Here's a taste of your own medicine. Your tears are salty. Well, this is what Republicans felt like when you removed them from committees. And it's not just Democrats who've been removed from committees. MJG was removed from committee. Gosar was removed from committee. I believe Scott was removed from committee too. Not Tim Scott, the other one from Florida. Ilhan Omar is not a leader. Rashid Tlaib's not a leader. Matt Gaetz isn't a leader. Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't a leader. If these people were leaders, they would be doing something where they actually led. Maybe they would be a camp counselor or a football coach or a district manager, an executive. Maybe they would be a volunteer at a counselor's network. Maybe they would be at the VA that led a group for veteran crisis. Maybe they'd be a soccer mom. Maybe they would decide to go ahead and run for city council or state representative or senator or mayor or governor and relinquish all leadership responsibility, because those positions are never about leadership. They're about being a representative for the American people, and those are things that the politicians have not been in a very long time. The Constitution of the United States, this is on my desk every single night, and it is here for a reason. This is not the government this is not the document for politicians. This is ours. And this is to limit the power of the government, the United States government. She works for us. Matt Gaetz should have as much fervor to remove the people on the Republican side who have made anti-Semitic remarks, but he won't. And that's why he is playing in the middle of the road. Because politically, it would be stupid, because they're going to use that against him. But by him saying, well, I'm not quite sure with Omar, I'm kind of on the middle, It allows him to go ahead and keep positions that he's assigned for committees without having to remove those people who made some anti-Semitic remarks. That's why. That's it. Susie, I always appreciate your opinion. I don't know what you think I'm arguing here. My whole point was I've already made my point. I'm not going to do it again. Folks, that's it for tonight. I appreciate it. It was a good show. Good to have everybody on. We had 110 something. I'm glad you guys hopefully liked the new system. I don't think there was much of a difference on your side, but it was cool for me to be able to see who's on, who's not. I had quite a few people on YouTube, a few on Twitter and Twitch. Good to see that. Most came from Facebook, so thanks for doing that. Share this out, folks. No recorded show tonight, but there was one last night. Give it a watch. It's pretty good. It's based on the economy and the national debt. If you have not had a chance to stop by the Don't Unfriend Me Show store, you can do that anytime you want by going to The Dumb Show. Pretty simple. Head on over to The Dumb Show, dumbshow.com, and you can find some shirts, some amazing coffee, and also hats. All swag. Owned by little old me, and there's a sale going on, 10% off if you use the code DUMB10. You can also find all of our shows, our live shows, our recorded shows. Everything's over at the site. It's all built for you. You can find the blog, all of it, all of our podcasts, and some cool swag. Like I said, buy some cool shirts, support the show. 10% goes to the Travis Manion Foundation. I cut that check on taxes every single year. And the rest goes into my pocket because capitalism rocks. Go take a look over there. And then stop by PFC Flags if you would not mind. Jason makes this beautiful flag behind me here, which has my AR on it. PFCflags.com. You can get a free desktop flag right now if you go over and order. And go, please take some time and pick yourself up a flag. We've got a couple more comments here, and then I will go ahead and do Veteran Crisis. I don't think she deserves to be off the committee. She should never have been in Congress to begin with. I couldn't agree more, Sherry. I think that is true. Jerry, I don't appreciate your comment, and I don't know if you care or not, but that's your warning. And if you make a comment like that again, you'll be removed from this group. And that's maybe something you don't care about. I have a lot of friends who are Muslim, and I would never use that word. That's what they said about the Jews. I think you should find a new word to describe a very large demographic in the world. There are amazing Muslims all over the world. And not all of them want to destroy Americans and think we're infidels. I don't know if you served, but if you did serve overseas, you would know that. So try to have a little bit of respect. Self-respect. There's plenty of words that you can say about Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib and anybody else. But insulting them based upon a religion is, I'm not your dad. I'm not your friend. I'm not your buddy. I'm not your bro. But I can just give you some advice. I think it's very weak-minded, and you're probably a lot smarter than that. So that's all. You maybe not care, but I do. So please don't do it again. Folks, that's it for tonight. I will go out like I always do with the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Veteran Crisis Hotline, 22 veterans commit suicide a day. Thank God we're out of the holiday season. Number is decreasing a little bit, but Afghanistan and Desert Storm, Desert Shield, OIF, OEF are all on the horizon. Veterans need help. This number can provide that for them. 1-800-273-8255. Press 1. Traumatic brain injury, PTS, anxiety, depression, all very real. Veterans need battle buddies and swim buddies when they're in. And right now they need anybody, and that anybody is you. If you recognize these signs in a veteran, please provide them this number. If they won't make that call, sometimes veterans are stubborn, I will make that call. I've helped hundreds make this phone call and get the help they need. It will never be reported to their duty station. It is 100% anonymous, free of charge. And last but not least, if you are not a veteran, that's fine. You can be a civilian and they will not turn you away. It's that simple. Make the phone call. Folks, I appreciate you. God bless. And please do me a favor. Leroy probably won't be on tomorrow because he has drill. And Amy is going to be working. So if you would like, stop on by. Maybe you can go ahead and join the show. Stop on and call in. And we'll have another conversation tomorrow. We'll be live at 8:30, and I'll have a recorded show for you earlier in the evening. God bless. Thank you for watching, and I will see y'all tomorrow. We ain't brothers, we ain't partners, and we ain't friends. If Gann gets away, you're going to be sorry you ever met me. Reggie Hammond. Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. You walk those streets for money. You don't even care if it's wrong or if it's right. Roxanne. Hammond. Hammond. You a cop? It's one of my favorite movies, 48 Hours. So fantastic. So fantastic. You had to plug that line in there. We ain't brothers, we ain't partners, and we ain't friends. I got you out, and I'm going to keep you down. Gans gets away, be sorry, everybody. I'm already sorry. I'm hungry. You hungry? I'm hungry too. Let's go get something to eat. Here's your goddamn dinner. Fuck you, man. Eddie Murphy, man, so good with Nick Nolte. So, what a great, I'm going to go watch 48 Hours. I'm going to ask my wife if we can watch it. Thanks for reminding me about that. What a great show. Go watch 48 Hours. Still waiting for that Vato impersonation. I'll do it. I'll do it at some point. Maybe. We'll see. Good night, everybody. See ya.